your bridge to hope, encouragement, and inspiration. It's Sozo Today with the Bridge FM Morning Crew. Here's Johnny, Jared, and Joel.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
It is a good morning, Washington, Greenville, and New Bern. It's 8:06. A little later than normal. We got a little behind because we're having so much fun in here talking with Miss Laura Strabley, who's joining us. She has written a book, Living Prime, in every season, y'all, that is going to be a huge encouragement to you. So thanks for tuning in. It is 73 degrees, and your Monday is starting off great. Just like our producer, Joel's, who, happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So how old are you today, sir?
The big 20.
The big 2.
Oh, happy birthday.
My
Thank
goodness. Joel, you don't look a day over 19. Man. Joel is hanging out. On his birthday, we're putting him to work, but we're going to have a little bit of fun later. So happy birthday, dude. We love you. We appreciate you. You make it go here. And
Thank you.
Thanks, man. We
Love y'all
appreciate you. So, Laura, how was your weekend? Like, what did you do this weekend? Anything fun or exciting or crazy?
I had a great weekend, actually. I visited a place in Chocowinity called Raised in a Barn. They have a beautiful sunflower field and animals. And so my daughter Mia was able to pet a cow and a goat.
That's awesome.
And smell some sunflowers. I'm not quite sure how much they smelled, but and attempt to destroy a few sunflowers. She's turning 4 next month, so it was it's always a crazy time with Mia, but so much fun. Beautiful place to go.
That's awesome. I'll have to check it out. We haven't been over there. So Laura is not only is she an author, but Laura works with the Coastal Pregnancy Center here in Washington. Laura and I met back in 2016. She had bought a car, and her husband Kevin had bought a car. I happened to be one of the managers at the dealership, and so they were in my office for a while, and we started talking and really struck up a friendship, and we were talking about all kinds of things, and the Lord really has since then done a great job. The Lord's done a great job. Yeah, he's done a great job of intertwining our paths. And so we were both in Wilson. You had moved to Greenville to take over the pregnancy center in the crisis pregnancy center in Greenville. Yep. And then the Lord has my church is there. And so we connected there. My dad, the pastor there, had you in a couple of times. We've had you in to talk about the crisis pregnancy center and the baby
wonderful.
bottles and all that good stuff. And then now I'm in Washington, and you are now at Coastal Pregnancy Center. And so together, again, our paths are intertwined. And so I'm excited to have you here this morning, Laura.
Thank you. And I promise I'm not following you, Jared. And guess what? I pulled up in that same car. That is the car.
Yes. I noticed that, actually. Yeah, I noticed that. And so it's I love that. I'm not in the same car. So I'm in the bridge car.
You are definitely not.
Hey, by the way, we're heading to another song. But if you guys see me driving around in the bridge car, honk at me, wave at me, let me know you're seeing me. I love it, Joel. Everywhere I go, man, people are honking and waving, and that just makes my day.
I have people telling me they see you around.
Dude,
so
I love it, man. It absolutely makes my day. So if you see the bridge car driving around, don't lay on your horn and scare me, but like the honk, honk, wave, wave, kind of honking and waving. Y'all, we are having a fun morning.
That's a sweet ride.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it. Morgan Printers did a great job. We're having a fun morning. We're going to be heading into our Devo on the go. You can find it at sozotoday.com. We're going to be diving into that coming up next segment. So I love that you just played that song, Joel, because it says, "Who am I?" And our Devo on the go today, which you can find at sozotoday.com, is talking about the real gospel. And it starts out with this illustration of a game show that some of you might remember. They would get a panel of people, and they would sit them in front of a couple of contestants. And one person in this panel of people would be the real so like if it would be the real Laura Strabley, right?
Yes.
And so these people would have never met you before, and they would line up and they would ask you questions, and based on your answers and everything that you were given, they would have to pick the right one. So they would put their answers in, and then at the end of the show, they would say, "Will the real Laura Strabley please stand up?" And then everybody would know if they were right or if they were wrong. And
look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, you can look it up on. Did you watch any of the episodes when you were looking it up?
I did.
So was it fun?
Morning. Yeah, it was cool,
I
actually.
love it. So it was called
I
To
guessed
Tell the
wrong.
Truth. You guessed wrong?
I guessed wrong.
So it's called To Tell the Truth, okay? And in Paul's letter, how are we going to transition this to the Devo on the Go, you're wondering? Well, in Paul's letter to the Galatian church, he finds himself at a point where he is shocked that they have turned away so soon from God, who called them to himself through the loving mercy of Christ, and they've turned away to follow a different way that pretends to be the good news, but is not the good news at all. Paul is saying here, you know the good news. Well, the real good news, please stand up. And once it stands up, well, you know what it is. You don't have to guess. You don't have to guess at what the real good news is. Our key verse, Galatians 1:4, says, Jesus gave his life for our sins, just as God our Father planned, in order to rescue us from this evil world in which we live. Laura,
Yes.
the real gospel.
Yeah.
The real gospel is so powerful and so true and so simple, but yet we trip over it so many times.
We do, and there's nothing new under the sun. The Galatian church was struggling, and we struggle today with this thing called works. Can I be good enough? Now that I've received this gift of salvation, this work that Jesus did for me, that he accomplished on the cross, now can I earn it? So that's not the real gospel.
It is not.
The real gospel is oozing with grace, and the real gospel creates a space that is truly safe for a human soul to come before God, their creator, and Jesus, and know that they are loved unconditionally by him, and that they are his. They are his by this gift of salvation.
Yeah, and once we receive this salvation, and once we realize that we are his, that we are truly his, and we can rest in that, man, we begin to find a restoration. Our soul begins to be restored, and we begin to heal, and we begin to break free from the bondage of the I have tos.
Yes.
I have to do this, or I have to do that. And I love how you said it earlier. You said, Jesus sets us free from our to-do lists.
Yes, yes.
You know, in order to be a good believer, I have to do this. In order to be a good Christian, I have to do that.
But Jared, the joy that he brings into our lives changes that perspective of I have to I get to. I get to be a part of what he is doing. I get to experience his goodness in my life. I get to pour that goodness out into the lives of others. And that is joy. That's not drudgery. It's wonderful.
So drink that in this morning. Like, take this in, that he sets us free from our to-do lists. He sets us free, and instead of I have to, it turns into and I get to. And that, Laura, that is worth, if that's the only thing that you hear today, that the real gospel of grace turns you from I have to I get to, then that will make a difference in your life. So we have, we're going to talk more about your book, Living Prime in Every Season. We're going to talk more about that coming up in the next segment. Right now, we have we didn't get to this last hour, but we have New Music Monday. And y'all, I'm just telling you, I heard this song and I was like, oh my goodness, this song is going to be a hit. In fact, I talked to Johnny last week and I'm like, can we play it this week? Like in the middle of the week? And he was like, nope, you got to wait till New Music Monday. So here we go, y'all. It is Maddie Mullins. It's a song called No Hold on Me. It is awesome.
Good morning, Washington, Greenville, New Bern, and Ayden.
Hey, Ayden.
That's where I live.
You live in Ayden, right?
Yes.
So we were talking this morning. We were texting back and forth, and you were like, "Hey, I'm leaving my house. It's 40 minutes," and I'm like, "Hey, I still got like 10 minutes because it only takes me 30 minutes to get here." So I got to sleep in an extra 10 minutes longer than you.
I'm jealous.
So you're listening to Laura Strabley. She's hanging out with us this morning. She's the author of Living Prime in Every Season. And Laura, this book, you have a couple things about it that I can say. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
The pictures, the drawings that actually you painted.
Yes.
And then they're featured in here. They're absolutely, so it's, if you're just gonna have a book sitting on your table, this is a great one to have because they can pick up, your guests can just pick up and just look through and see the all the paintings and all the pictures there. It's just a beautifully illustrated book. The cover's beautiful, but it's more than beauty. It's impactful. And I likened it last hour to like a Beth Moore study book. And so tell us how every chapter starts out. I love how every chapter starts out with a story from you, right? It
does. As a matter of fact, actually, every chapter starts out with kind of a sila. It's a painting, and there's a quote to pause and meditate, and then you can read a poem. And the poem really is designed to awaken you to your emotions that you're going through. And then you move into my story, a little bit about me, just so you can hear my ability to relate to the pain that you may be going through. And then there's a connecting bridge. And the connecting bridge is beginning to draw out of your soul, the need, giving you permission to just honestly admit, I have a need here, and I think this is what it looks like. And then forward steps is the section that really gives you very specific guidance and instruction to know how to become unstuck if you're stuck in your grief, like any of us can be, and really truly to move forward in vision for your life, in hope for your life, in victory for your life.
I love that. And so you were telling me earlier that you wrote this for people who might be looking and thinking, how do I move forward in my life? Like I've just been through, and the subtitle of the book, Emerging Hope Through Shattered Dreams. And you just do a great job of going in. And now the scripture, there's a ton of scripture in here, but it's not like you're not going to go crazy and get a headache because you're diving so deep into it's not a whole book about one verse.
Right.
It's a bunch of verses in there that help relate the overarching point of the chapter. And then you're able to take that chapter and journal through it because there's plenty of spots for them to write.
Well, and that's why it's a 4-in-1 book, because when we're going through devastation on any level, we need things to be simple. And we also just need to be given permission to go at our own pace. And so in a way, you can also view it as a smorgasbord, and you can pick a little from here, a little from there, where you're ready to go, where you're ready to meet God in that moment and in that space, to just even take a tiny step and or just be nourished on some level and refreshed on some level. So my hope is that you really have freedom to process through this book and know that God is with you. I really believe that he meets with us when we cry out to him. And so, you have opportunity to cry out to the living God and know that he hears you. And that's what's not written in the book. What's not written in the book is the divine encounter that I believe that you will have, not just with this book, but any book where you apply your heart to cry out to him and know he will meet you in that place.
Yeah, and you had said last segment that, or last hour, you had said that the book is full of honesty, and you made a great point about what happens when we're honest.
Oh yes. Well, I've heard people through the years say I could never be angry at God, and I've always kind of wondered when I heard that because, I'm just pretty raw and real in my relationships with anyone, and in my relationship with God as well. And so when we're going through things that we don't understand, when we feel even injustice or victimized in some way, and or that it's just raining trials on our lives, we ask, why, God, why? We know that we all go through trials in this life. None of us, I don't think, really escapes that. And we're told not to expect to escape it.
Right.
But we feel so singled out. When we are going through it, it feels very personal. Like, God, where are you? And, I just think it's so important that we be given permission to be honest in our conversations with him, because he already knows. He can handle it. He's a big God, and he loves us so much. And that's the place where, as we cry out honestly to him that, he will begin to speak to us. He will begin to comfort us. He can give us a hug in a way that only he can give.
Yes. And if you've had that, if you've experienced that hug from the Lord, you know exactly what she's talking about. And it is just that, it's that moment where you begin to find healing, and you begin to find hope, and you begin to realize that, okay, you know what? I'm not alone. Yes. And that this God that maybe he's a God that you have worshiped your whole life. Maybe you came to know him at a young age, and now you're able to find yourself saying, this God that I've known about, this God that I've read about, I'm now experiencing his grace.
Oh, yeah, that's so true, Jared, because I think about, I grew up in a Christian home, and I did come to know the Lord when I was a child. And, I had faith. I had faith from what I experienced. But then when my world was rocked and the rug came out from underneath my feet and I fell on the rock, Jesus Christ, he upheld me, had nothing to do with me and everything to do with him in my life. And so it's like who he was to me in theory, he was real. I was experiencing that God of the Bible real in my life, moving mightily in my behalf, intervening. I can remember it's like I couldn't go to the right or to the left without knowing his presence was there and some miraculous provision that he met me with in those moments.
That's so cool. That is so awesome, y'all. That's what you're getting when you get the book Living Prime in Every Season. If you're looking for a new book, maybe for a new women's Bible study at your church, maybe you just are going through some things in your own life and you're like, man, I'd love to walk through that journey. Journaling, helping. We were saying earlier that, like, my wife has one of those Bibles that she draws in and paints, or use colored pencils in, and like, that's not my thing. But for her, it just really helps her to go and to do that. And so this book has just plenty of spots for you to journal, for you to write down, and it's a great book. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it online at Laura's website, or you can message us at the Bridge. We'll get you in touch with her, especially if you're looking for a large quantity for a Bible study. We got more coming up next. So we've had the best time, Laura. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you all morning, talking about your book, Living Prime in Every Season, emerging hope through shattered dreams. And it's just been the best time. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us on Joel's birthday. Joel said, Joel, if you could have anything, he said, I want Laura Straybley hanging out with us today.
Bonus points.
Hey, you know what? We have another special guest with us this morning. We have Vicki. Vicki is with Lane Blue here in downtown Washington. And Vicki, I stopped in your store the other day. Was it, I think, Wednesday maybe? Yeah. And so, Laura, I walk into this store and I'm like, immediately the smell. I was like, oh my goodness, like, I just want to sit down, and stay here. I don't, I don't even know. I just want to, it's so relaxing. And so then I started looking around. Vicki, you have some of the coolest things in your store.
Thank you.
And I was trying to write a commercial. So you're going to be on the Bridge with us here. And so I was trying to write a commercial, and there's so many things that you have in your store. I'm having a hard time putting it all together. And so tell us a little bit about, I know I'm actually just about a couple of things. First of all, the pillow spray, big hit. Big hit. So tell us that you have the bottles of pillow spray they can spray on their pillow and sheets.
Right. Yeah. So it's really lovely if you have allergies, if you travel, like I travel a lot. So I carry one with me everywhere I go.
Oh, hey, they also, Laura, they have this giant, it's a pot, I guess, for a better reason, but not a cooking pot, like a pitcher, like a pouring pitcher. And it's made, I was telling her how much I loved it. And she said, oh, Jared, those are made in England. And that factory has been around for ever, right?
1861 in the same place.
And so you have all of these. You have that there, and then there was some stuff from Denmark, some items from Denmark too,
right?
That have a there only 10 people work on this, right?
That's right, 10 people in a factory in Italy. They hand pick all the clay and make the pots by hand and send them back to Denmark to be approved by them before they sell them. Yeah,
and y'all, these are just some of the items that you can find in Lane Blue. Yeah, it's not just pillow sprays and like fancy pottery. It's things that just make you like, oh, I want that in my home. Like I want that in my home too. Oh, I want that in my home too. So whether in your living space, if you're looking for just that right piece of decor, maybe something for your kitchen, maybe you need, they have everything from cast iron skillets to table sets and table placements and just all kinds of really cool things. And Vicki, I'm excited that you're going to be on the bridge for a little while. And man, I'm excited to go back into your store.
Thank you. Yeah. Everyone else too.
Yes.
So tell us where it's located.
129 East Main Street.
Okay.
We're on the other side of all the chaos. By the Wells Fargo.
Okay, so on their Market in Maine, the corner there, if you take a right, you can't take a right; it's a one-way street. Right. So you take a left there on Main Street, and your store is right there on the right-hand side. Y'all, Lane Blue. How can they get up with you if they want to find out more information about your store?
They can contact us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Pinterest.
Okay.
We have a website.
Awesome.
www.laneblue.com.
Okay, and that's blue with a B-L-U.
B-L-U.
That's
no
right.
E.
And we're going to share this out on the bridge, so you'll have that information you can find out. Y'all, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Vicki, thanks for telling us about Lane Blue. I can't wait to go back in there and find the next cool item for my house. Joel, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Washington, Greenville, and Newbern. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.